And now we turn back to international agenda. For the first time in 15 months, the guns have fallen silent in Gaza. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire, which came into effect on January 19. The deal, including a ceasefire and a hostage exchange, was brokered through separate meetings between Qatar's Prime Minister, Hamas and Israeli officials. The agreement is structured in 3 phases. In the first, Israel will release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 33 Israeli hostages over a 6-week period. The second phase outlines measures for a complete cessation of hostilities in Gaza, while the third focuses on the region's reconstruction. Yet questions remain. Can both sides uphold the terms of the agreement? And what does this mean for the future of peace in the Middle East? Here's more in our full report. This marks a pivotal and highly anticipated moment in the tragic history of the Middle East. Qatar's Prime Minister, one of the mediators, has announced a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. On the same day, thousands of Palestinians took to the streets of Gaza, which had endured over a year of relentless bombardment, to celebrate the long-awaited news. For the relatives and supporters of Israeli hostages, both those who have died and those still alive, the joy of the ceasefire is bittersweet. According to Israeli intelligence, around 90 people remain in Hamas captivity, though the exact number of survivors is unknown.
It's like a roller coaster. I'm not breathing right now. We don't know if they're on the list, if they're gonna come back in the first phase.
The ceasefire will be implemented in 3 phases. In the first phase, Israel will release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 33 Israeli hostages, while IDF will withdraw from the most densely populated areas of the Gaza Strip. On January 20, Tel Aviv welcomed the first 3 freed hostages who had been held captive by Hamas for 15 months. In turn, Israel has released 90 Palestinian detainees, women and teenagers. In total, 100 people are expected to be freed from Israeli prisons, most of whom were detained at the onset of the latest escalation of the conflict. The main goal of the deal is to end the war in the Gaza Strip. The first challenge, however, is ensuring the ceasefire agreement is upheld. On the eve of its implementation, Israel postponed the deal, claiming Hamas had not provided a list of hostages to be released. A few hours later, Hamas complied, but during that time, the enclave was shelled, killing around 20 people. The United States concerned that after the first phase of the agreement, which is set to last 42 days, the conflict could reignite.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of the deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side.
Do you support the 2 states?
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place is, it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
The uncertain future of this deal is also reflected in political divisions within Israel. 3 far-right Israeli ministers, including National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, have submitted their resignation in protest against the ceasefire.
I believe that the situation is fairly unstable within Israel. It has been fairly unstable even prior to October 7. We have had major protests throughout Israel against the judicial reform that Benjamin Netanyahu intended to carry on within the Israeli political system. So I believe that the situation is fairly unstable there. I believe that, as I said, the end of the political life of Netanyahu is on the horizon.
The war in the Gaza Strip has had significant repercussions across the Middle East. While it did not escalate into a larger regional conflict, as many had feared, it triggered profound geostrategic shifts. Despite losing some of its former strength, Hamas remains capable of waging war against Israel.
Hamas was not annihilated, and that was the official goal, military goal of the war in Gaza. And everybody knew that there is no war in the world which can annihilate completely the enemy. That simply doesn't happen. The whole axis of resistance, what could fairly say it has been destroyed. That is a fact. But that the Hamas will just vanish and there is going to be nothing replacing Hamas, that is also an illusion.
Moreover, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been charged with war crimes by the International Criminal Court. The UN's International Court of Justice is also investigating allegations of genocide against Israel. The Lebanese group Hezbollah intervened in the conflict but was crushed by an Israeli offensive, which played a significant role in the collapse of Assad's regime in Syria. These are just some of the far-reaching consequences of the war.
In order for that thing to find a sustainable solution, you need to find a sustainable solution for the Palestinian part of the equation. There is no way out of this. And that relies on the shoulders of both Israelis and the Palestinians, and to a larger extent, the Arab neighbors, the Egyptians, the Jordanians. We will see how developments will carry on in Syria, in the Levant, and if there is going to be a sustainable and stable Syrian government. But it is up to Palestinians, it is up to Israelis, and it is up to the Arabs in order to find a sustainable solution for the Palestinian component of that problem, of that equation, unstable equation, Israeli-Palestinian, because so long as we haven't found a sustainable solution for the Palestinian part, there is not going to be a solution for the whole problem.
The October 7 Hamas attack, which killed 1,200 people, most of them civilians, prompted Israel to launch a military intervention that left Gaza in ruins. According to the Hamas-run health ministry, around 50,000 people have died in Israeli strikes, including both fighters and civilians. A recent study in the Lancet Medical Journal suggests that the actual death toll could be far higher. Experts say that with strong political will and intensive diplomacy, the ceasefire could hold, though violations are likely, and hopes that the agreement will bring an end to the broader Middle Eastern conflict remain slim. Dauren Isagulov, New Time.